All right, guys, hello. First of all, let me say what I'm about to present, I was compelled to create today after a conversation that I had with a beautiful woman that has come on board the 27-day mindset reset that starts on Sunday. I thought I have to share with everybody what I just shared with her. So I thought I'm going to create this quick workshop. I'm going to present it. It's going to be great. Haven't thought it out properly because I got home to record. There's tradies downstairs. I can't get into my office. So anyway, I've come upstairs. I found a quiet corner. I said to them downstairs, you need to be quiet for the next 15 minutes. And so here we are. Let's get started. What I have for you today is something that I believe is foundational in all self-development. And it's probably a missing piece to the puzzle for anybody that has tried to generate change for themselves within their lives, and it's just fallen flat. So today I'm talking about the power of integration. And I'm going to explain exactly what that is in a moment. But this is the thing that makes the difference in not just having good intentions, but being able to follow through and actually generate change within your own life. So let's dive straight in, shall we? So when it comes to self-care, building self-worth, creating daily practices and rituals that nurture what's at the base of our being and help us to feel more confident and just alive and full of gratitude and joy and all the juicy goodness that we want to feel. There are certain things, certain practices that I share with women, and I see it in their eyes or their body language that they are just thinking to themselves, yeah, I know this, I've heard this, I've tried this, I know this. There's a difference between something being common sense and common practice. I think for a lot of us, we can identify some of the unhelpful habits and patterns that we have. And we know there are certain other things that we really should be doing that would make a difference for ourselves. Logically, we know that, but we don't make it common practice. So, how do we do that? How do we bridge the gap between understanding fundamentally what we know would be best for us and actually doing the damn thing? Because that's what makes the difference. You can have all the best intentions in the world, it's your action that actually matters. So, today I'm going to very quickly walk you through a two-step process that is going to help you understand how we take what we have learned and create something sustainable from the intentions that we set in our moments of motivation. Wouldn't that be good? It would. Let me tell you, it's epic when you can get it right for yourself. So, what is integration? Integration is the process of embodying, taking on for yourself the lessons and experiences that you have learned so that they become a part of you. It's not just something that you know, it's something that you do. And because you take action, because it's something that you do, it generates the kind of change or result that you want to experience. Think of it like getting tested on material at school. The test is to integrate the material that you just learned so that you really know it, right? So basically, when I'm talking about integration with you, it's like saying to you, yeah, I know that you get it, but I want you to show me what you're going to do with it. Don't just tell me that you understand it. Show me. How are you making this part of who you are and your daily structure so that it actually can support you beyond being a good idea, beyond being a great intention? Because here's the truth. I know this from experience. Trust me when I say I know this. Even the best intentions that we have for ourselves can fall flat, can just quickly dissipate and disappear. You might have been to something before, like a weekend retreat or a workshop, or you might have just had this moment of complete clarity and motivation where you saw a new future for yourself and you made declarations about who you were going to be and what you were going to do. And it felt fantastic. But you walk away from that moment, that experience, feeling inspired, but also a little bit overwhelmed, because you can see that it's a bit of a jump between who you have been and who you want to be. And you kind of get lost somewhere between here and there. And so you don't actually integrate any of the intentions or any of the lessons or any of the things that you had decided you would take on for yourself. And you just dive straight back into the way you have been operating, straight back into the week, and life takes over again. And pretty soon we're just going with the flow and we're back in the motion of the way things have always been, because we didn't actually integrate any of the things that we had learned, any of the intentions that we had set for ourselves. Any of the new ways of thinking and being that seemed so great weren't integrated. And so we didn't do them. And so life has remained the same. This is what we want to avoid. I know there are so many people who will just buy courses and do programs and do workshops, but nothing ever changes. And it's not because they don't have the right information. It's not because they haven't done a great program. It's because they have fallen short when it comes to integration and embodying what it is they are taking on for themselves. Integration is what helps you make things yours. In my Mindset Reset program, I am exposing the women who come on this journey with me to so many different styles of self-love and self-care that will deepen their relationships with themselves, that will nurture what is at the base of their being, that will help them light a fire of their own desires, that will help them burn bright within their own lives. I'm going to show them so many things, but it's going to be up to them what they take on and make their own. I like to describe it as going slow in order to go fast. Just because I'm showing 27 days worth of content to the women in this program, I don't want them to take everything on for themselves. They are going to give themselves full permission to put everything that I share through their own filter and only take on what feels right for them. And to do that in a way that is considered and conscious, so that they can be fully present to the experience of it and really feel into whether it is working for them or not. You don't have to change everything in your life to experience change. And it can be really tempting when you are craving change, when you can feel a restlessness within you and you know that the way you are or the way things are in your life is not the way that you want them to be. It can be so tempting to just want to like overhaul it all. Yeah. Like I'm doing like a, when you change your sheets and you're like, oh, like that kind of feeling, right? To change it all. But the truth is that usually just overwhelms us. If we can just work to change one thing at a time and fully integrate it within our lives, within ourselves, embody it, fully take it on, we actually build a really solid foundation for ourselves. And it is so important to build a solid foundation in anything we do in our lives, especially self-development. It's no point just trying things quickly and taking information on and not actually feeling into it, embodying it, doing anything with it to see if it's actually right for you. There is power in trusting yourself and taking massive leaps. I'm not going to deny this. And in many areas of my life, I just dive headfirst into something. I go for it. But what I have also learned, and what I think is more relatable and probably more useful for the women coming and working with me, is the idea that there is power in integrating the lessons at every new level of yourself. So we're not trying to speed, we're not trying to race, we're not trying to make growth this overnight success story. We're integrating the lessons at every new level of ourselves so that we don't burn out or flounder or have a panic attack when we don't know what to do with what we have just called in. As we change, as we ascend, as we get to know ourselves in a new way, it can be really overwhelming. If we take the time to integrate what we are learning and what we are choosing for ourselves deeply before we move to the next thing, it makes a world of difference. So, let me share with you the process of doing this. Because once again, I think logically you can understand everything that I'm sharing with you, and you're probably nodding along thinking, yes, this is so true. I take on all this information for myself. I have these grand ideas about who I could be, and I have these powerful intentions, but it just fades away. I get distracted and that motivation dissipates and I actually don't change anything. There's nothing sustainable about my approaches. So this brings me to the process of integration. Whenever we want to actually integrate, that means we're fully taking it on and embodying it so that it becomes not just something that we do, but part of who we are. We can utilize this process. Okay, so it's a two-step process for integration. Step one is compassionate self-forgiveness. Now, if you've done my forgiveness masterclass before, and I highly, highly suggest that you do, you know how passionate I am about talking about the power of forgiveness and about taking it on as a way of being and a daily practice. Because here is the truth, and I want you to hear this really clearly for yourself. The biggest thing that you have to overcome anytime that you want to break an old pattern, that you want to transform, is almost always self-judgment. When we can identify something that's not working for us in some way, rather than just moving on to the next thing, we spend a lot of time and energy questioning why we had to be that way and beating ourselves up for it and speaking really harshly to ourselves about it. There is so much self-judgment and self-loathing within us about the things that we have allowed or done or chosen that hasn't served us, that actually holds us back from ever moving forward. Some of us are so tied to our story of struggle or pain or suffering that it gets in our way of ever actually integrating something new into our life so that we can experience ourselves and our life in a new way. So I want you to take this with you. The idea, the feeling, the sentiment, the belief that you're actually doing the best that you can with the information you have at the time. Even if you hurt someone or hurt yourself, you can take accountability for your actions afterwards. But the first step in transformation is to forgive yourself for the judgments that you have placed on yourself, on others, or the situation. I cannot highlight this loud enough. I'd be coloring it in fluoro pink if I could. This is the first step in the process of integration. Many women don't realize that there is so much that they need to forgive within themselves in order to create space for them to feel worthy of the expansion that they are actually capable of. That's the first step. Okay, so the way that we integrate this, the way that we actually take on forgiveness in a way that is workable, excuse me, it's very dusty in here, is that we can take on this as a way of working through it. To deepen my practice and support myself in moving forward, I here and now release any judgments and limitations I may have present in my consciousness. And we come to this kind of practice again and again. This is not a one and done type activity. This is something that we realize we are going to have to take on and work through again and again, probably for a really long time, because a lot of the limiting beliefs that we have or the way that we have caused unnecessary suffering for ourselves has been going on for years. So you're not going to be able to sit down, do one journaling activity and go, whoop, it's gone. I mean, maybe you might, but in my experience, it takes, a lot of time to work through this. But the point is that we get started on it consciously. And so you would sit down and you could voice record this, you could write this down, you could have the conversation with a trusted person about the things that you are now releasing. I forgive myself for judging myself or the situation or the other person for, what is it? I forgive myself for buying into the limiting belief or misinterpretation that, what is it? And we can apply this to relationships, body image, any ideas we have about who we should be based on what society has told us. We can take this and apply it to so many contexts within our lives, and it's going to be really powerful. So an example that I've included here is that the judgment might be, I need to be further along than I am right now. I should be doing more. I should be having more. I should be making more. Yeah. Or another judgment might be, I'm not good enough to have what I want. Who am I to have that thing? I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not capable enough. So you take that judgment and you make it really clear. You show yourself what the judgment is that has been causing you pain and suffering that you need to forgive. And then you work through it and tell yourself what the truth of the matter actually is, what you are going to decide to believe from this point in time moving forward. So if I took judgment A, I need to be further along than I am. The truth of the matter could be, I'm exactly where I need to be in my development and I honor my journey. And I said, this is something we need to come to again and again. You're not going to say that to yourself once and believe it. You're not. This is what inner work is about. But we need to know what we are developing within ourselves in order to develop the damn thing, right? This is the kind of work that we do. Step 2 is integration and embodiment. So what you do is you sit down and you decide for yourself the qualities, energies, expressions I intend to integrate to embody are. So if I'm integrating something to embody it, is that I'm taking it on so fully. I'm making it part of who I am so that I just radiate and vibrate with that. That becomes my aura. That becomes my energy. That becomes the lens with which I see the world. What is it that you are taking on for yourself right now? Because for a lot of us, based on our limiting beliefs or the suffering that we are hooked into, we're actually embodying pessimism, yeah? Or sarcasm. Or if you have a hard time trusting people, yeah, that says a lot about you. That's what you are embodying. If you want to be someone who embodies creativity and joy and freedom and love, you need to choose that for yourself consciously. And we have to work out very clearly, what is it that I'm integrating into my life that is going to allow me to continue the experience of working out what that means for me and what that looks like. And so you decide very clearly what qualities that you want to embody. And I've said you could have A, B, C, you could have 20, you could have 1. Each person works differently. And then you make a very clear decision and distinction for yourself. To integrate this into my being, my intention is to take the following actions over the course of the next 90 days. And you state your intention as if it was already true. Now, here is where my 27-day mindset program comes into play. What the hell do you integrate and do daily for 90 days that is going to help you actually be more of who you really are and who you choose to be? Well, friends, I've got 27 days of suggestions and experiences and resources to share so that you can see what sort of things you could take on for yourself and create as a daily ritual that would honor that in you, that would nurture that in you, that would call that forward for you. And from that place, we begin to integrate things into our life that help us embody exactly who we choose to be. And from that place, we begin to experience ourselves and the world in a new way, your way, based on who you have decided you want to be and how you want to experience the world. It's powerful. It is powerful. So whoever needed to hear this today, as the gentle nudge to jump on board the 27-day mindset reset with me, you have a few days. We start on Sunday. It's $122 for 27 days of working intimately with me. I have resources that will teach you how to journal effectively. We're going to be talking about creating sacred spaces within your house. I'm going to teach you embodiment practices through movement. There's audio coaching. The first masterclass I'm doing is about self-care and how we get out of our own way when it comes to putting everybody else's needs before our own. It's going to be a really powerful conversation. There is so much that is going into this program that is going to empower you to fully step up and actually be the person you were always intended to be, instead of the watered down, distracted version of yourself that you might find yourself being today. All right, so if this sounds really good to you, I'm sure it does, and I hope it does, reach out. You can send me a message here. You can find me on Instagram at Lena Moxon. If you want to know specific details about the Reset program, if you haven't seen that yet, I'll pop it in the comments below this video. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for your time today. I hope this has reached whoever it needed to reach. There's always one woman that specifically needed to hear what I felt compelled to share. This was for you today.